welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where Barça are actually going to be in La Liga action on Friday this week. A Friday game there against Mallorca. We're going to be talking all about that today. And what we're going to be doing is going over Xavi's quotes from his press conference, which I think actually gives us some real insights there on a number of areas right now. We're going to be talking about the likes of Vitor Roque, Marc-Andre, Ter Stegen as well. Been lots of debate recently about him. And of course, we are going to be giving some more opinions in today's video. You've really enjoyed that recently. I appreciate all the feedback and all the comments, and there is some really good debate today over the club's current situation. There's been a lot said over the past few days from several people about Barca's reality and about Joan Laporta. It is all coming up for you. It's all discussed here. So let's do it. But I do indeed want to kick off today's video once again by saying a big thank you indeed to the super thanks given by Caprossi. I hope there that I'm pronouncing that correctly. A very, very kind gesture indeed. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for the support, and to all of you here who are tuning into the video today. Really appreciate it. And I want to start with Firmin Lopez in today's video, because following yesterday's, and we talked about him in detail, we spoke there about his performance against Athletic Club, the reaction to that. And Xavi's words today I thought were interesting. He said Firmin is a perfectionist. He was very, very unhappy after the game against Athletic. He said he looks at a lot of things on his own there by himself, and that's a good thing. He said he wasn't happy with his display at San Mamés, and that is also a good thing. We trust him a lot. So Xavi there confirming what we were saying about Firmin, that he didn't play well. It wasn't good from him. Some of the reaction may have been understandable, but he knows that as much as anyone. And I think we're going to see him now with a lot of fire in the games to come. We're going to have to rely on him more, and he will certainly be looking to raise that level again and show us his talent and his quality. Let's keep an eye on that in the games to come. But I do want to talk about Ter Stegen, because I do have to say, guys, that over the past few days, sort of past week or so, we have seen lots of things. You've been on social media. There's been a sort of campaign against Ter Stegen. There's been accounts there posting videos of his mistakes, of moments in games where things haven't gone well for him. And obviously, that's something right there we don't need. Nobody needs to do that, especially if you're on the side of Barcelona. You don't do that against your own players. We want people to be feeling confident. We want people to be feeling good. We don't need to launch campaigns against our own players. I think we're all very, very clear on that. But there have been debates, really, on whether Ter Stegen is the absolute top-level keeper there that Barca need if they want to return to the summit. And actually here, ahead of Ter Stegen's 400th game at Barca, Xavi was asked about Ter Stegen, where he ranks in terms of the greatest goalkeepers this club has ever seen. And he did say there that along with Victor Valdés, Ter Stegen is the best goalkeeper in the club's history. He said Marc is noble, he's a leader, he is an inspiration, and he has so many different qualities. He's a big-time captain. He is a role model both on and off the field. So Xavi there could not speak more highly of Ter Stegen. He is absolutely in love with him there. He loves what he's seeing from Ter Stegen. But do you agree with that, guys? Do you believe there that Ter Stegen ranks among the best keepers that we've ever seen at this club? Because I would look at Victor Valdés. That's where the comparisons have been so far. When we're talking about Ter Stegen, people are comparing his performances to Valdés in that prime Barca team. And what I would say about Valdés for me is he was more of a big-time player and more of a big game player. That's my opinion there. Because when I think of Valdés, he had a mistake in him too, by the way. People may gloss over that now and, of course, think back to the glory days. But at the time, people used to look at Valdés and think, he can be a bit shaky. He may not be the most dependable goalkeeper. And there was big criticism, by the way, of him too. But now, of course, people really do appreciate him. I think it was performance in the final in 2006 in the Champions League when Barca had their backs against the wall against Arsenal. I remember Thierry Henry basically throwing the kitchen sink at Valdés in that game. He could not beat him. And that's what I mean there about a big game display, a big moment in which he ultimately won us that game, won us the title. That's what you need from the very, very top goalkeeper. So I think that in terms of their overall game, there's similar qualities on both sides. Ter Stegen has so many good things about his game. He is so suited as well to the Barcelona style. But we need those big game performances. We need every player, not just Ter Stegen, but every player throughout this squad to have those big game qualities when the stakes are high, when the pressure is on. Everybody must be ready to really stand up, and then is when you need to show your best level. And I do think it was interesting as well that Xavi was was asked in his press conference today about Vitor Roque. Of course, I was expecting that. We spoke yesterday about Roque's current situation, that maybe within Vitor Roque's camp right now, there's a bit of nervousness, there's a bit of anxiousness there surrounding the minutes that he's getting ahead of Copa America in the summer, and also, of course, to do with his Barça career. They want him to be playing more, and especially they want him to be playing as a centre-forward when he gets those minutes. And Xavi said today, Roque is in direct competition with Robert Lewandowski and also the other attackers that we have at the club. He said he has helped us already in his Barça career and he will help us down this stretch of the season. But he did say there, and I thought it was interesting that Xavi added, if he earns it, he will play, just like everyone else. So is Xavi there basically saying Vitor Roque in his mind has not earned a place in the team, has not earned the opportunity to have minutes? Because I think it'd be pretty harsh to say that from what we've seen of Vitor Roque, he hasn't earned more time. You know, when he's on the pitch, he does add something there, the movement, in terms of areas that he can get into that maybe other players can't. You know, you need different things at different times in games, and especially when we're in need of a goal. Are you really saying there that Vitor Roque hasn't earned the right to be out there to try and help us get back in a game, to get us the goal that may level up a tie or give us important points in the title race? I think he does deserve more, and I think he has earned the opportunity at least to show more of his quality, and I hope in the coming games, maybe even starting this Friday, that we can see Vitor Roque more, because he does deserve that chance. But if we do then move on to the midfield situation, which right now is just beyond a joke. It's not even funny anymore. It was never funny, but right now, the injuries, they're hurting us in that area. We've got no Xavi, we already knew that. We've now got no Frenkie, we have no Pedri, and it's frustrating as Barcelona fans, because we, on paper, we have unbelievable quality in our midfield, but we've hardly got to see it. We've hardly got to witness that midfield actually all together. And Xavi did say today, unfortunately, we've almost never had Frenkie, Pedri and Xavi all playing together. And he said, of course, we can change the system, but the model that we want to play, it's difficult to change that. We got to attack, we got to recover, we got to have the ball. And he said, you can try maybe João Felix in a midfield role, Ferran, Rafinha, we've seen already Xavi try to do that, Roberto too, but he said these are not real midfielders. And I do feel for him in that area. You know, there's been lots of times where maybe excuses have been made, but that's the one really where it does feel cruel right now to lose Xavi for as much of the season as we have. Now to have no Frenkie, now to have Pedri, has already missed so much of the season already. It is cruel and it no doubt hurts our team. But looking specifically at Friday's game here against Mallorca, who by the way are the Copa del Rey finalists this season. They got past Real Sociedad in the semi-finals. Wonderful moment for them. They also just beat Girona at the weekend, so they are no pushovers. They are not an easy team to play here at all. But I do think we are going to see some changes from Xavi on Friday, because he said before the game, we will definitely make some changes from the previous match. He said, we have to think, though, about the players. We're not thinking, though, about the Champions League on Tuesday. That is not why we are making the changes. And I don't actually believe that at all. I think here at Barça, they are thinking about the Champions League. They are thinking about Napoli, and we want everybody fit, ready, and firing in that game, because it only makes sense. Because, yeah, okay, we're in the title race, you know, technically we could still win it, mathematically on paper, but realistically, we've got to go all out in the Champions League. We have to try and make sure there we're in a good position against Napoli, we can get through there, get to the quarterfinals, and then you see what happens. You attack that competition with everything that you have, and you just see how far you can go, because don't forget as well, financially in the Champions League, the further that you get, the more money that brings in for the club too. So we could really make some strides there, and that is why I believe from the club side, they are thinking and putting most of our eggs in the Champions League basket. Which brings us on then to the potential lineup that we could see on Friday from Xavi. Now remember that Araujo is suspended in this game, so there's going to be Ter Stegen there. I think we are going to see Hector Fort at right back. That's going to be interesting there. Big chance for him. Cancelo then would switch over to the left side. Kunde maybe at centre back alongside. Could be Kubasi, but I think maybe Inigo Martinez will slip in and get an opportunity here at centre back there. So Araujo should be all nice and rested for Napoli. In midfield then, Christensen is going to stay there. We're lacking options in midfield. Gundogan is going to play again probably alongside Fermin Lopez there. So using all of the midfielders that we have at our disposal. And then in the front line, I think we're still going to see, like we spoke about yesterday, Yamal probably rested in this game from the start, because they're worried there about discomfort in his knee. Rafinha looks likely to start, probably Lewandowski, and probably João Felix on the left-hand side. Now for me, I'd like to see Roque. Come on, let's see him. Let's give him some minutes. Give him an opportunity, especially ahead of the Champions League here. But probably, I think Xavi going to stick with this. And if Roque was going to play, you know, most likely it's going to be again, probably on that left side. That's where you most likely would see Xavi put him. But let's wait and see what happens there on Friday. But I do want to move on to talk here, guys, and this is important too, about the club's current situation. Because I want to start here by talking about some words, actually, from Gerard Piqué. Of course, he's quite outspoken. You know, he's outside of the club now, but he's still well aware of what's going on. He's well aware of the demands at Barcelona. And I thought his words recently, they were interesting. And I think a lot of us fans could kind of understand where he was going with these words. Because he said right now, talking about our current situation, I think Barca fans want the truth. He said, we want to know what our reality is. Because he said, if we're in this reality, we've got to say it. What we cannot do is sell a smokescreen, saying there that, oh, we're going to win the Champions League, when you don't have the money to be competitive. Because he went on to say there, I don't know the club's financial situation in detail, but he said, I think people want to know the truth, to be told that, look, there's no money. And that then we're going to have to bet and we have to rely on La Masia to bring us to glory. So I think what Piqué is saying there is, how much longer can the club keep saying, look, we're going to win the Champions League, everything's going to be good, we're going to be back on top, we're going to win, we're going to compete for everything, without really going and backing that up. And especially with all of what we hear about Barca's financial situation, about all of what we hear there with Barca's situation with restrictions in La Liga. So Piqué there is asking maybe for a bit more transparency, for us fans ultimately to get more of the truth and not just be told, look, everything's going to be fine, we're going to win again, we're going to win the Champions League and all of this. But I thought it was interesting today that Xavi was asked about Laporta in his press conference, and what he said was something very different, because he said Laporta here found a very difficult club when he came in, from an economic standpoint, from a sporting one, and on an institutional level. He said he is the best president, Laporta, in the history of Barca, and if there is one person that can get Barca out of this situation, it is Laporta, which I think is interesting there, because on the one side, you can also understand those words from Xavi. You know, Laporta is somebody who we all want to put trust in, want to put faith in there, believe that ultimately he can get us out of this. And we have made certain strides, and we have managed to turn things around from the Bartomeu era, which was a disaster, which very nearly bankrupted this club. But at the same time, we as Barcelona fans, if we're being told, look, we're going to win the Champions League, at the start of every season we're told we're going to compete for everything, then naturally those expectations are going to be higher. We are going to expect, look, if you're telling us that, go and deliver it then. Go and provide the team, the coaching staff at the club to make that possible. So that is why this summer for me, guys, it is so interesting. It is so key for the club, because that for me will tell all of us fans what the direction is going to be. Are we genuinely serious here? Are we going to go out and get a top coach, bring in a whole army there of staff to get things right at this club? And then are we going to go about in the transfer market and make a few things happen, build a squad, add to the squad, and get the absolute best of it? Because then we can say, look, we are going to compete. We are ready here to be winners. But it's that move in the summer. It is our next steps now that will define our future. And that's a big, big moment for Joan Laporta and his Barca board. But of course, guys, as with every single video here, and especially now with more opinions flying around, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what your take is there. Firstly on Piqué's words, and then on Xavi's words on Laporta. Which side are you on? Would you like to see maybe more of the truth being given to us? Or are you happy with how things are progressing? Do you feel as though we're still making steps in the right direction, even despite all of these restrictions trying to hold us back? And do let me know, guys, your thoughts ahead of Friday's game against Mallorca. What lineup would you like to see from Xavi? And I will see you indeed ready on the match day for all the reaction. And I thank you indeed, guys, for getting involved here, for leaving all of your comments, and for all of your fantastic support. Thank you indeed for watching. But until next time, yeah, as always, Visca, El Barça.